What does the average day now of a full-time real estate investor named Tyler Tolbert look like? Because I have an idea of your day, which every time we talk seems to be hunting. So you get to play a lot. I feel like you play a lot, which is great. I think we had a conversation once. There was a few of us at a table. I can't remember if it was at his house. I just visualized seeing you, Matt, I think Jeff Brailio was there, myself, and we were just mastermind, and a couple other people who I can't remember. And I remember being at a table. I can't remember if we were like at Tsunami or at Matt's house. Probably one of those two places. Makes the most sense. We've been at many of those places amongst each other. Yeah, frequently. And we have friends out there who their goal is to accumulate as many assets as they possibly can, because it's now a game and each asset is basically a scorecard. It's points, right?
Absolutely.
And then there were me and you at the table who both said, no, we don't want to necessarily work forever. Like, we want to get to a point where we have enough income that comes in that we're not having to go out there, because we'd rather, in your case, hunt. For me, I have other passions outside of real estate. We'd rather go do this stuff. So the real estate's a great way to feed that stuff. Do you still feel the same, or do you feel that, yeah, I'm on the page of Matt now where I just want to have 1 million doors and, because it's a fun game of scorecard?
Both.
Both, okay.
So real estate is definitely not, real estate for me is a means to an end.
Okay.
It always has been a way for me ultimately to provide a lifestyle, not for myself, but more so for my family.
Okay.
I do have a little girl. She's almost 2.5, almost 3. I spend a significant amount of time with her.
Yeah.
Like a lot of time.
Yeah.
With her, you know? And I think that, so my everyday for me is pretty much, largely filled with being a dad, which I think is awesome. And I take calls, yeah, dude, and I take calls, and we structure deals and all of that stuff, and I still send out marketing and raise capital. But especially with COVID now, a lot of that's happening from home.
Yeah.
So, if I'm not directly in the grind of doing something work related, I'm spending time with my little girl. And then outside of that, I do spend a very significant amount of time in the outdoors.
Yes.
I'm a very avid outdoorsman.
Yes.
So yeah, it's I'll continue to buy properties. I'll continue to upgrade properties. I definitely am not where I want to be. I'm 30 years old, so
Yeah.
I've got a lot of, I hope I have a lot of runway ahead of me still.
Yeah.
But it's not, there's just things other than work that are way more important to me that, I worked really hard from when I was a sophomore in high school until I was 28 years old, or whenever my wife had our baby. 28. So I really preloaded a lot of my work.
That's so smart, yeah.
And the big thing is going back to what I said originally, it's about keeping your personal expenses low.
Yeah.
From a mentor of mine, he had told me, he's like, don't, pay cash for everything other than your house.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have a different perspective on that, especially in the real estate game. It's, leverage. It's a very powerful tool. But when it comes to personal stuff, I don't have any of that. I keep my personal expenses low, so that's why the real estate I have now, which is probably modest, relative, allows me a lot of freedom, is because I don't drive Teslas, and I'd love to, and I will.
Sure.
I will one day. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
I'll have all kinds of really cool toys. I'm just okay having them later, so that I can spend the time that I desire with my family.
That's very smart. And like you see, for me, real estate, I love real estate because it's been a machine that's been able to provide a lifestyle, like you said, for me and my family at basically my terms, right? My schedule's very flexible. I'm also an entrepreneur. I have other businesses, and then I've got my 2 kids, and You know, I'm like the only dad that's at every single swimming lesson. You know what I mean? At every single guitar lesson. At every single, well, he just actually started guitar yesterday. So I've been to every single guitar lesson.
You're 1 for 1, brother.
Yeah, I'm 1 for 1. But because of real estate, I have this ability so my son's been in MMA since he was 2, right? I love the fight game, so my son's learning, you know, the fight game. But every single one of these, I'm like the only dad that's at every single one. Yeah, there's some dads that show up here and there, but because of real estate, it allows me to be able to still make a living for my family, live comfortably, and then have that flexibility to spend with my kids. You know, like you spend time. So I love that. Okay.
Yeah, family's number 1, dude.
Family is number 1. I totally agree. All right, so do you have a sandbox that you play in? Is it strictly just Salt Lake City? Is it anywhere in Utah? Is it outside of the state? And if so, where is it? If you don't mind me asking.
Yes, I do, and no, I don't. I have not done anything out of state.
Okay.
I'm definitely alert to that because it seems like the returns are very attractive. I'm a pretty conservative player, so never done anything out of state, and my almost 100% of everything I look at and am interested in, which largely just goes to how smart I am, which is not very smart. I only can comprehend, you know, such a small geographic area with any level of competence. So Salt Lake County is pretty much my target right now.
Gotcha.
Especially considering all things economically and COVIDly and so on and so forth.
Right. Guys, Tyler is super smart, so as he's making a joke, I've had the opportunity to hear him share at the RIAs, we belong in a mastermind together, hear him share, so man, he's done some amazing stuff at such a young age. You're 30, you just said you're 30, right?
Yep.
Wow, that's great. Awesome. Okay, Bailey, we got to get you going. You're 21? Bailey's 21. He's got 9 years to...
Hey man, it's easier to do it at the beginning. The longer that you wait, the harder that it gets. Even with having momentum, you know, myself, it's like the older you get, the faster time goes, the more expensive things get, and the more responsibilities you have. The one thing I would say I did well, which again was just luck, was start early.
Yeah, perfect. Which leads to the next question. I always like to ask at the end of the show all my guests if they have any tips for the listeners on being able to pursue whatever it is that they want to pursue. You know, you're sick of your 9 to 5, whatever it is that you want to pursue. You have a dream to go do something, and you go out and do it and execute like Tyler has with discipline at a young age, which is very hard for young people to do. I feel like you said, I see so many people, you know, going to get the Tesla today, you know, but hold off on that, buy an investment property instead, in our case, because that's what we like is real estate. Do you have any tips for the listeners on pursuing a passion?
Well, it's silly that this would be it because I'm not a sports guy, but the thing I really like to think about is with baseball, you're not going to hit the ball if you're not at the plate.
Yeah.
You know, so if you have something that you want to accomplish, no matter what it is, if you're not trying to accomplish it or putting yourself in a position where you can accomplish it, you won't, right? You're not going to hit a home run, you're not going to hit a bunt, you're not even going to get walked to first base if you're sitting in the dugout.
Right.
Period. So step up to the plate, do something as small or meaningless as it is, just do something.
Yeah.
Because even if it seems meaningless to you, it's action.
Yeah.
Right? And you won't do anything if you don't work towards it. And then a small other thing as I think we're getting close here, but something that's really powerful for me is I love watching every morning and night a 5 to 10 or however much time you've got, 5 to 10 minute short YouTube motivational video.
Yeah.
And if you just open YouTube, everybody I'm assuming knows what that is. Just type in motivational video.
Yeah.
Every morning and night and just watch one. It doesn't matter what one it is, it doesn't matter, but just programming your mind and having a strong mind makes it a lot easier to step up to the plate the first time.
Yep.
And most importantly, it allows you the courage and whatever it might be to step up to the plate the second time.
Right.
And the third time, and the fourth time, and the fifth time. And if it takes 6 times or even 600 times,
Yeah.
I just believe that if you keep your mind sharp and you keep feeding yourself good content, it makes it easier to be persistent.
I totally agree. And what I love about that is, yes, you might strike out. And if you do, who cares? You go back to the dugout and you come back out. And like you said, it might be the 600th time, but every time you strike out, you'll have learned something new with each pitch, the direction it comes, the spin that it has. I mean, like you said, if you're keeping your mind sharp, paying attention, and learning from your lessons, then eventually you're going to hit that ball. And,
Yeah.
you get to first, and then eventually you get to second. And one day, eventually you get to third, and one day you'll eventually get home and reach your goal.
You got it, man. Life's a teacher. It'll teach you the same lesson over and over and over until you've proved that you've learned it.
Yep.
So it's like, just if you're not happy with the results that you're getting, maybe interpret that a different way, and rather than being upset about it or discouraged, realize that that's just life telling you, hey, there's a lesson to learn here.
Absolutely.
And likely enough, if you do the actions you did to get where you were, you're going to end up in the same spot and
Yep.
have pain, and that's life again teaching you. So just change what you're doing and be conscious.
Awesome. Love it. Excellent. Tyler, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. I really appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you. All right, guys. You've been listening to K-Talk Radio, 1640 AM, the show Utah Home Sweet Home. I hope all of you have a spectacular rest of the weekend.